What's good, YouTube? I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to navigate through Bitcoin market cycles because we want to be able to identify the most valuable opportunity where Bitcoin finds its fair value. And I think a lot of people really like to overcomplicate how simple this can truly be. And we're just going to apply basically the relative strength index on the monthly time frame of the Bitcoin chart. So I personally got into Bitcoin in March 2020, meaning I bought right here. I bought this particular zone right here and I held all the way through. I was able to scoop up the extreme fear and navigate through all of the emotions that came with it. And even holding today, it leaves me almost invulnerable to market cycle corrections. It doesn't really matter how heavy the market corrects because my entry level was so low. And what I'm saying is I want to help you actually understand and discover these entry levels that also offer the same amount of yield and prosperity and also sort of market cycle invulnerability. You want to be immune to these emotional shifts in the market. And if you're a long-term investor, it doesn't matter anyway, because if you bought in 2015, you're doing great. If you bought in even in 2017, market cycle top, you're still doing good, though the position is rather risky. So what I want to show you is basically, we can see at the bottom here, we've got the RSI, and every single red circle is indicating to us an overbought, euphoric and greedy market. Every green circle on the relative strength index is also indicating the opposite, which is a fearful, extreme fear, oversold position. And we can see these waves happen in big expansions and contractions. I'm just going to open this up for you so you can see. And right now, we are in June 2022, we're heading towards the next potential green circle. As you can see, these previous two market cycle tops, they didn't quite hit the yellow trend line. And even this market cycle in March 2021, we didn't hit this trend line, but we got close. So you could also speculate that maybe we won't actually hit this lower trend line on this relative strength index. So why is this important? Well, what we can do is we can measure the gap. Oh, not that gap. We can measure the gap between this basically overbought position and oversold position, and we can actually get how many days that does take. And that allows us to sort of get an understanding of how long do we have to actually accumulate. Where can we find this golden opportunity? So for example, we can see 2013 bull market top at $1,000. It took 638 days for an overall 85% crash. And when we got to this bottom level here, when we saw this distribution, this was the golden opportunity. You had 885 days to accumulate before getting back to that market cycle top. Now this is 2018. This is the very, very famous bull market, which of course started much earlier on, but we're not looking at the beginning of the bull markets. We're looking at the beginning of the oversold position where it flips back into seeing bullish momentum on the RSI. So you can see this particular bull market, as soon as you saw the oversold position or the overbought position on that euphoric RSI, it took 365 days to come down to the bottom where the RSI was also sitting pretty much oversold. So 365 days is all it took. And then after that, you had 812 days to accumulate from this bottom position all the way to the top. So what I'm saying is, guys, this green vertical line indicates where you should start buying. You should start buying here. As you can see, look, you can start buying crypto here. Great, you're going to be in profit. You can start buying crypto here. Great, you're going to be in profit. We're back at another green line, guys. Do you see what I'm trying to say? We're back at this extreme fear undervaluation zone where we can potentially reaccumulate more Bitcoin. And what's interesting is the green line to the blue line, so the oversold territory to the overbought territory, you're only getting 800 days roughly. You've got 800 days to change your life because the crashes happen much quicker than the accumulation. The bear markets seem like they go on forever because they do. 800 days is all you have to change your life, to build the wealth and add to your portfolio and, actually prosper in. Dollar cost average, research the market, it evolves quickly. That's what we must understand. So 426 days in this time, it's quite interesting. It's actually looking a bit more like back over here in 2013, where it took much longer, the distribution phase, before seeing that pump to the upside like this. So I'm very, very excited to see what could potentially happen. The 2017 bull market was much, much shorter. The distribution phase took less days, probably because there's less enterprise adoption, overall holders as well in the market. The global adoption and the traction is also much less. But what you can see is following again, very similar to 2015 to 2017 reaccumulation, and just here 2019 to 2020 reaccumulation, we had around the same amount of days. So it leaves you to wonder, is the next place Bitcoin is going to have its bull market or euphoric market cycle top, is it going to be about 800 days away from this position? We'd be looking at around November 2024 if we get a similar position. Now you can see the returns are also diminishing right here, 8,554% increase from this bottom. Here we had a 1.8k increase. So on this particular occasion, you'd assume less once again, right? We can also look at this particular fib extension. We came way above the 4.236. Though, can you say it's going to happen this time round? It could do. If we got to the 4.236, you'd be looking at $150,000 Bitcoin, of course. So let's assume that we saw a 1,000% increase. You'd still be looking at ridiculous price levels, and I think that's too much. I think we're not going to see that unless we do come down to lower levels, such as the 200-week moving average. So if we saw a 1,000% increase, now we're looking at 250k Bitcoin. Personally, I think we're probably going to get about a 750% increase at best. So anyway, guys, what I'm trying to illustrate to you is that you've got about 800 days from the point where we see this oversold position on the relative strength index right here. That is what's so important, and that's what I want to illustrate to you is why would you want to buy here when you can start buying here? You can grab some crypto today, guys. Like, build that portfolio. Don't be scared if the vision is 2024. You're looking to invest not for tomorrow, not for next week, not for next month, but you're looking to protect yourself against, the uncertainty in the economy. Like, look at petrol prices, look at so many other economical things. The value of the pound, the dollar is diminishing, but what we do know is Bitcoin is constantly showing us this trend that we're moving up in price more and more and more. So this, for me, is very important. I don't know how many other people talk about this kind of thing, because usually it's talking about the lengthening cycles or, the actual beginning of the bull markets, but we're actually looking at the beginning of the oversold positions into the end of the overbought positions, if that makes sense. So here to here, here to here, that's what we're looking at. So I can identify now from this particular information that we've got about 800 days before we see the next bull market top. But that leaves us wondering one other thing. Where is Bitcoin potentially going to go from here? Well, if we look at the Bitcoin chart at the moment, I think one crazy thing is that Bitcoin has literally pugilistically danced around with this crazy $28,000 level for a long time. It really has. And again, we can use the RSI because it tells us a big story. It paints a very colorful picture on the weekly time frame. You can see now we're trying to break this particular RSI at 34. Is there headway to come back down to 30 RSI? I think potentially yes, there is. There's too many macroeconomical factors suppressing a Bitcoin rally right now. So I do think another leg down is quite likely on this particular occasion. We could be looking at even a $20,000 Bitcoin. What I think is more likely to occur is that we sail back down to that 200-week moving average, just like we did following 2017, just like we did with the anomalous event of COVID-19. Here we had the event of Terra Luna crash on the 9th of May. That's why we put that capitulation wick in at $25,000. So we're heading way possibly down to the 200-week moving average. Very likely that we will probably see at least a $20,000 Bitcoin for some time. And remember, flipping back to this chart here, we know we've got 800 days to accumulate in these lower positions, fair valued as opposed to euphorically valued. We've got 800 days to accumulate as much as possible now. So this opportunity is effectively exactly the same as buying in November 2018, as buying in March 2020 with the COVID crash, as also buying in January 2015 following the very first Bitcoin rally, or shall we say the second rally in 2013. So you've got this opportunity that only pops up once in a while, and it's coming our way. So keep your eyes peeled on it. Don't chase the green candles. If you buy at the top, then it's your loss, and you should also accept fate and that it was your own problem and your own fault. But now you've got the education in front of you. I bought here. I didn't perfectly sell the top, but I did sell on the way up. And then I never got back into this position here because I didn't believe that we'd actually make it because I was using this as a key example. But now I do know what this entry level can offer. I've experienced it. The generation of wealth can be immense and it can be very euphoric. But it's always better to stay level-headed. Don't let the emotions invalidate the logic, and always stay long-term, because if you invested at any time here at this green zone on the RSI, it doesn't matter what price level you bought Bitcoin. It doesn't matter. As long as you were patient and you held, you'd be in profit. So I suppose that's what this is all about. It's all about being able to hold, not give a shit about any news, not care about anything that goes on, extraneously, and just stick to your original investment plan. Everyone that I met on my travels, every rich person I met with cryptocurrency, they didn't even trade it. They just held it. They kept it in their wallet. They didn't even look. They just added to their positions when they felt right. And that's exactly what every sensible and successful investor does to navigate these sort of markets. We can also see on the DXY, not looking very good. The strength of the dollar against all these other currencies is popping up, so it doesn't look good for Bitcoin. Usually we see a nice rally when the DXY is low, but right now the DXY is pumping and it's almost forming a double bottom position, which could easily break out to higher levels. I highly doubt we will see a 120 DXY over here, but the dollar is looking really good, and that is the truth. We didn't have the COVID event. The pandemic is over. Economies are booming once again. We're not really seeing stagflation. We're actually seeing booming economies. And I suppose to once again further illustrate the fact of where we are on Bitcoin at the moment, the rainbow chart is telling us, I know it's a bit of a crappy chart, but to be fair, it is telling us that we're getting back down to these levels of 2020 March and also 2018 December. So make sure you're always sensible, guys. Don't let these particular emotions invalidate you. I mean, this is the psychological pitfalls of a market cycle, as we see right here. We've already been through euphoria. The overconfidence is here. The enthusiasm already happened. You've only got to look at Google Trends, and that will tell you from the volume on the global search volume side of things. You can actually just literally type that into Google now. Just type in Google Trends, type in crypto. Look at the last 5 years. You can see the search volume is completely down. And when the search volume is spiking, it actually correlates with the euphoric prices of cryptocurrency as well. So you can even use Google Trends as a buying and selling indicator, which is pretty funny actually. So yeah, anxiety, we're probably in denial phase at the moment. If you look, and I still think the agony and the true depression is yet to kick in, because lots of investors still have a very, very small amount of hope as Bitcoin is hovering at this particular level. But it's a double top position, it's bearish, and I think in order to allow Bitcoin to find its fair value would be much better than seeing another pump to the upside followed by an inevitable dump. If we can have a long time of trading at fair value, things will look much better for the market overall. So do expect more downside potential. Stay away from altcoins. Altcoins are very, very high risk at the moment, because if Bitcoin capitulates 10%, you can easily see an extra 40% correction on the altcoins. So stay in the blue chip projects. To be fair, cash is probably king right now. Cash really is. If there is a better opportunity ahead, it would make sense to move some positions into cash or just accumulate more Bitcoin if you're already in the long-term positions. Guys, make sure you head down to the Discord below. About 300 people in there at the moment, so this is a little community you can network with. If you want to grab crypto today, use the link at the top of my description. Make sure you get yourselves into those Telegram channels and subscribe to the channel, because I will stick around through the bear markets. See you soon.